Hey everyone, I hope that you are having a fantastic day, whatever you are doing. I know it's a Friday when I'm recording this, but it's a Sunday when this goes out, at least in my part of the world. So I hope that your weekend has been pretty good thus far. I have a topic for you today that has been kind of in the back of my mind now for nearly a month. And it came back to the forefront of my mind this week because the thing that I want to talk about actually happened. But before I go into that topic of discussion, I just want to thank everybody who has made Transport Evolved a real success this month. In August this year, we had our best record-breaking month ever. I mean, we broke our subscriber count, in terms of new subscribers in a month. We made more money than we'd ever made before. We had more views than we'd ever had before. And it felt like things were suddenly getting a lot easier for us. September was another great month, not quite as good as August, but pretty good. But October, even though it's the 26th of October when I'm recording this, has already broken August's records. And there's just under a week of the month left. So I have no idea what the figures are going to be for October when we finish October. But for the first time ever in Transport Evolved's history, we went over 1 million views in a month. We're like at 1.1 million so far. We've earned more money on YouTube than we've ever earned before. We've had more subscribers than we've ever had before. We've had more interactions than we've ever had before. And even our Patreon page has had a good month. We've had many more people come on and support Transport Evolved. And it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to everybody else associated with Transport Evolved, because the more income and the more predictable that income is, the easier it is for us to grow as a channel and do more awesome things. Like that video that you all liked from Friday with the animations that Erin did. They were fantastic. I've already got Erin working on some new animation projects, so there will be some more videos coming, probably in a couple of weeks' time when I'm not around. But anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand today, which is Tesla pricing. Tesla, when it first launched its Model S, and in fact before that with the Roadster, tried to set up a very transparent sales structure. It did away with the traditional automotive model of you going through a franchised dealership or an independent dealership where you purchased the car from that dealership and that dealership had already purchased the car from the car company. With Tesla, you bought the car direct from the company, and the whole idea behind that was that you knew how much you were paying for the car. You weren't getting these hidden fees tacked on. You weren't getting shafted by a dealer who was whacking an extra $2,000 onto the sticker price because the day had a Y in it. You were just going to pay what Tesla said the cost of the car was. And that was a revolutionary idea, and it still works today. With Tesla's stores, it's a very easy experience. So I've heard. I've never bought a Tesla, but it's a very convenient and simple process to buy a Tesla. But Tesla has, for some time now, fluctuated the prices of its cars so frequently that it is very difficult to know exactly how much a Tesla costs. At the same point, unlike the traditional automotive world, where cars generally get updated in terms of their interior content, software, etc., every year or two, and then you'll get a mild drivetrain or body update midway through the car's lifespan, Tesla updates its cars on an almost monthly basis. As new components come in that are better, as new features are unveiled and rolled out, Tesla constantly changes the content and the capabilities of its cars. And again, it's one of the big drawing points for Tesla is that you buy a Tesla and then the car gets updated via over-the-air software updates and you get new features. But I'm not talking about that side of the Tesla experience. I'm talking about things like removing trim options or adding new trim options or suddenly putting the price up of a battery pack or a drivetrain specification, as we saw this week. Last week, Tesla unveiled the Model 3 mid-range. It's essentially a stopgap measure until Tesla can make the $35,000 short range or standard range Model 3 and bring that to market at the price it's promised, which Tesla has said it can't do yet. So it's come out with a $45,000 before incentive Tesla Model 3 mid-range. That was the price the first week. And then this week, Tesla put another $1,000 onto the price just out of the blue. So it went from being a $45,000 car to a $46,000 car. And in the last 12 months, I've kind of lost count of the number of times that Tesla has tacked on a couple of grand or took off a couple of grand for anything from autopilot functionality to particular drivetrain options to interior trim packages. And it means that it's very difficult to keep in mind exactly how much a Tesla Model 3, a Tesla Model S, a Tesla Model X will actually cost you. And customers, by the time they've made the purchase decision that, yeah, I'm going to buy a Tesla, they are not going to niggle over a couple of grand. And so Tesla has actually been given a free pass by many people in that regard. But I mean, I've spoken to people who were like, yeah, my car cost me more than I thought it was going to. And they find that frustrating. Doesn't stop them from buying a Tesla. But still, like you don't suddenly expect to have to pay an extra couple of grand on top of your car. The reason you go to Tesla is because you don't want to be unaware of how much your car is going to cost until you sign on the dotted line. It should be a fairly simple pricing structure. It's got me thinking, does Tesla need to kind of slow down this price fluctuation wobbling and constant changing of content and options? Because I don't think it's doing Tesla any good. Tesla made a name for itself, certainly from the sales model, by being transparent and open and honest about how much your car was going to cost. But now the prices change so frequently, it's really difficult to know. Personally, I think it's putting some people off. I mean, I wouldn't want to buy a car if I knew that next week it might have new features that the one I'm buying this week doesn't have. Similarly, it might force me into buying a car if I know that the features that I want are going to be replaced with something that's either more expensive or not exactly what I want a couple of days down the line. Now, granted, Tesla is pretty good about honoring the, previous versions of trim packages or options. I mean, Tesla this week, for example, has said if you ordered a $45,000 mid-range Model 3, we'll honor that price. If you ordered a Tesla Model 3 long range with rear-wheel drive, don't worry, you can still get it for a few more weeks and then we'll stop making it altogether. But I don't think I'd want to buy a car if there was that constant worry that the pricing was going to change or the packages were going to change. And let's not forget that when you buy a car, it's not a snap decision. You sit down and you make a decision over probably 2 or 3 months to buy a new car. My wife and I have been discussing buying a new car to replace our Nissan Leaf, or at least maybe to keep the Nissan Leaf and get a new car for my wife. We've been discussing that now for the best part of 3 months on and off. And it's like, should we, shouldn't we? What cars do we get? What car wouldn't we get? What about this? What about that? It's a long process. So to then suddenly have the price fluctuate wildly up and down and up and down and up and down is not doing Tesla any favors, and it's not doing the consumers any favors. When you're dealing with high-end cars and the person buying that high-end car has enough disposable income that a couple of grand is not going to cause them a problem, that's okay, that's still not cool, but that person can probably underwrite that difference. But if you're talking about people who have scrimped and saved and know this is my hard limit and they're pushing themselves to the absolute limit of what they can afford so they can buy a Tesla, so they can buy whatever the product happens to be, those price fluctuations don't do anybody any favors. I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up and thumbs down. And if you want to support us on Patreon. I just dropped my phone on the floor, so I don't even know if this is still recording. Anyway, have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Keep evolving.